the handshake to death. How Raila fell into a death trap. And the Luo nation was so happy that now they are in government. I feel that Rao betrayed the Azimio brigade. He entered into what I would call the handshake to death. It was a death trap that was set for him to deal with him once and for all. Kenyans, one of the smartest things that President Ruto has done is that he will never inherit your enemies. He will always actually make your enemies his friends. And this is one thing Dr. Ruto has learned to do almost seamlessly. The late Raila Amolo Odinga would always inherit other people's enemies. And that was one of his biggest weaknesses. You know, when the UDA or the Kenya Kwanza government was impeaching the DP Rigathi Gachagua, the ODM fraternity was so happy, so excited. And in fact, they were mobilized to vote Gachagua out. In other words, they were mobilized to impeach Gachagua. And they did it so successfully. And Gachagua was impeached. I think the ODM thought that since Gachagua is going to be impeached, this will create more space for Raila Amolo Odinga and his brigade to even get more positions in government, and even the deputy president's position. They were actually eyeing that position. However, they never got that position. You know, Ruto is a clever politician. So once he discarded Gachagua, he brought in Kindiki to try and consolidate the Mount Kenya vote. And then he brought in Raila closer in what I call the handshake to death. How Raila fell into a death trap. And the Luo nation was so happy that now they are in government. And in fact, some ministers were saying, pesa ya serikali ni tamu sana. Not knowing what lies ahead. Kenyans, Gachagua was impeached. Raila came closer to government. And Ruto is so smart because he told Raila, I want you to get me 4 of your brigade or experts. I give them ministerial positions. Now, Ruto used those words to make Raila feel important. I told you about the art of charm. Ruto knows how to use the art of charm very effectively. So Raila brought in 4 individuals. Joho, Wandai, this other guy in finance, what is his name? The Minister for Finance. And also Oparanya was brought in. Mbadi for finance. And Ruto said, thank you, Raila, you've donated your experts. Now, is Joho an expert in anything? Is Wandai an expert in anything? Is Oparanya an expert in anything? Even Badi, is he an expert in economics? He's an accountant. But Ruto used those words to make Raila feel important. And this is how he plays his politics. And this is how he's been able to put the ODM brigade under his feet. Now, Kenyans, the problem with the Raila, the late Raila, may his soul rest in peace, and his brigade is that they inherited Ruto's enemies. So when Dr. Ruto created enmity with Gachagua, Raila inherited that enmity. Whereas Raila should have befriended Gachagua. After all, he may need some votes from the central region and from Mount Kenya region. This is a weakness to any politician. And I was so surprised that the wife, actually, Ida Odinga, in her tribute to the husband, said that she, as a wife to Raila, she never inherited his enemies, and it was a smart move. And she should have implanted this into Raila, not to inherit Ruto's enemies. But Raila went ahead and inherited Ruto's enemies. This was his very big undoing. But I tend to think, as we analyze all these political scenarios, that Raila needed Kalonzo much closer. Raila was much safer with Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. And I feel that Raila betrayed the Azimio brigade when he entered into a memorandum of understanding with Ruto privately. And he left his generals out. When I talk of generals, I mean the Azimio fraternity. I'm not referring to the ODM party itself. The Azimio, entire Azimio fraternity. Raila should not have accepted to get into any MOU with Ruto without Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka and Martha Karua. Reason being, he was safer with these people. They truly cared about him. They were genuine in their concerns about him. But in Ruto's camp, Raila had made very serious enemies in that camp. There are people even right now who are visiting Raila's grave because delegation after delegation, ask yourself why. They are just confirming or going to confirm that Agwambo is actually gone. I saw even the the Agikuyu elders go to visit Agwambo's grave. I saw people who opposed his presidency, people who contributed to him losing elections, who contributed to him being denied to ascend to power, visiting his grave to praise him, to elevate him. And as I told you, they love him more in death than in life. But we, the common man, we loved Rao in life. We voted for Rao. I voted for Rao. I have voted for Raila all my life. All my life I've voted for Raila. He's just never become president. And that is why the day he was buried, I was so emotional. This man should have been president. Even if it is for one term, he should have been president. They shouldn't have stolen those votes from him. And I think this thing has really touched someone like Uhuru Kenyatta. And he stayed over. Something like haunting him. That they did wrong to Raila. Ruto even referring to him as the people's president. To gain support from the Luo community and also to kill that guilt of a stolen election from Raila. But in all this thing, I feel that Rao betrayed the Azimio brigade. He entered into what I would call the handshake to death. It was a death trap that was set for him to deal with him once and for all. In the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, the writer talks about a principle of keeping your friends close but keeping your enemies closer. This is what the system used to get rid of Rao. May his soul rest in power. God bless you all.